Just yeah. Good evening. I'm Terrence Blackburn. I'm the program chair for the Greater Lansing United Nations Association, and I want to welcome you to our last before summer Java Cafe. So welcome to all of you. We'll do a little more talk about the Greater Lansing UNA at the end of the meeting. But for now, let me just introduce you. Our topic tonight is going to be feeding 10 billion by 2050, which is a little scary, actually. You know, I was thinking about that on the way in, and normally we think about food shortages in terms of refugees and natural disasters. I'm not sure that 2050 is going to be that way, so that's what we're going to hear about, I guess. So, in any event, I'd like to introduce you to Robert Lurie, who has pulled this event together for us for tonight. You know,
Thank you. Not going to be up here very long. So thank you. This is the longest Luna Java Cafe in history because it's supposed to be, have done in February, and here we are, in June. So this has been a marathon of things. So I really appreciate Dr. Maredia, Deb, and our students for hanging in there in the long flight here. So this activity or this Java Cafe does in fact focus on feeding 10 billion by 2025, and we have an expert to do that, but we also is more than that. It's also about how we involve youth in solving and thinking about these problems. So when the baton is handed off, we, from Dr. Maredia and others, we have capable and prepared students who can be effective problem solvers as we move forward. So this is like the perfect Java Cafe because we're talking about experts, we're talking about educators that facilitate problem solving, and then we have the students themselves. So this is really a microcosm of what the way forward as we go there. So again, very pleased that you're all here. As Terrence alluded to, food insecurity has always been an issue, right? And as time changes, that problem changes, right? And solutions to the problems change as well. I'm always reminded when I look at Shepard and Isaiah and Thaddeus that 25% of the world's population are youth, but they're 100% of the future, and they're 100% of the solution that we're going to need to move forward. So we're really excited they're joined us today. So we will. So our program tonight will start with Dr. Karim Maredia, okay, and I'll introduce him in just a second, and then we're gonna. I guess we're in track mode here, so we're gonna hand the baton off to Deb Barrett, okay, and I'll introduce her as well, and then finally we'll hand off the baton to our three youth here. So that's how we'll go, and then we'll wait till the end, and we'll do general Q&A with everybody involved. I think that will be the best way to go forward. So, how many of you? Oops. How many of you know Dr. Maredia? How many of you have been? Yeah, okay. Fellas, you all had breakfast with him in Iowa, so let's keep that in mind, okay? So Dr. Maredia is a professor and assistant dean of international programs at the College of Agriculture and Natural Resources. For the last 35 years, he's worked in numerous international agricultural projects. Prior to joining MSU, he worked at the International Maize and Wheat Improvement Center in Mexico as a research scientist. He's worked and traveled extensively in more than 60 countries, just got back from Rwanda yesterday, is that right? Yeah. So yeah, he had to come back early in order to, come to this. And just kidding, okay. He's been on the cutting edge of new knowledge, new technologies, and new strategies for producing food. So we're really in the presence of absolutely expert. So I think we'll let you come on up, and then after then I'll introduce Deb afterwards. So please come on up, Dr. Maredia. I think it's supposed to go on this side. Okay, if you want to move, just keep this with you. Yeah, great.
Thank you very much, Robert, and thank you for the kind introduction. And I want to first thank the Greater Lansing United Nations Association for giving me this opportunity. Robert and I, we have interacted in other programs, and we were in Iowa, Des Moines, Iowa last year, and then I think was it earlier this year, he contacted me and he said, "We have this event, and can you come and say a few words?" And I said, absolutely. I know we were planning to do this in February, right? But then because of the weather, we couldn't do it. So we are here. So thank you. And nice, beautiful day outside. So as I was introduced, my name is Karim Maredia. I serve as the Director of International Program in the College of Agriculture and Natural Resources at Michigan State University. We are the founding college of the university with great responsibility. Yeah? I am originally from India. I was born at home. Yeah, my parents were dairy farmers, so I have a farming and food is really deeply rooted in my family. And I did my undergraduate degree in India, and then I studied at University of Arkansas in South. Then I went more south to Mexico. I worked at International Maize and Wheat Improvement Center. And Dr. Norman Borlaug, I'm sure all of you may have heard his name, the father of grain revolution, who brought the wheat revolution in India and Pakistan. And we were in the verge of starvation in 50s and 60s. And the work that Dr. Borlaug did was just huge impact. Yeah. India with 1.4 billion people have a surplus for a year now to feed that level of population. So it was a great opportunity for me to work. And then my wife wanted to get a PhD, and she selected Michigan State, and I got a job here. So we came here and never left. Yeah. So I'm just going to share my experience in terms of global food security, and the projection is that we will have about 10 billion people by 2050, which is another 25 years. Yeah, it looks long, but it's going to come tomorrow. What I'm going to talk is just this is an outline of my presentation. Population is growing every day. What are the current global food security situation? What are the shocks we call affecting food systems and food security? And then it's a responsibility for everyone, right? 10 billion people to feed by 2050. I don't think so. No one person or one country can do it. We all need to work together. And then, I'm leading international program at Michigan State University in our college. So I just want to share what we are doing, how we are contributing at Michigan State. And then how all of you can get involved also. Yeah, I don't think so. Even Michigan State alone can do it. Yeah, so we need everyone. And lastly, the acknowledgements. So the world population is growing. You can hear me okay? Yes? So in 1975, 50 years ago, world had 4 billion. Yeah. And today we have 8 billion, doubled, yeah, in 50 years. And then by 2050, we are going to have another 2 billion added. So 10 billion, that's the projection of the population. And just an example, by the way, this is a map of India, and where the star is, that's where I was born. Yeah, that's where I come from, in the west part, north of. Actually, my home village is only 2.5 hours from where the plane crash happened a few days ago. Yeah, that's the city I fly into. Yeah, it was real tragedy. So many lives got lost. Yeah. So India has what, 1.4 billion people. I think last year or so we crossed China. So India is the most populated country right now. 50 years ago, the population was 624 million. So it's has more than doubled, yeah, in last 50 years. That's just one example. If you look at Africa, growing population of in 1975, 50 years ago, they had 417 million, and now it's 1.5 billion people. Just in 50 years, more than threefold increase in population in Africa. I just came back from Rwanda and so on, and everybody's talking about youth and young people, and 60% of the population in Africa, on the continent of Africa, is less than 30 years of age. So huge. Africa is the youngest continent right now. And their prediction is there that by the end of this century, every 1% out of 4 will be an African. Yeah. So lots of challenges coming up in terms of feeding the people. Ban Ki-moon, the former UN Secretary General, who served from 2007 to 16, this is his quote: "In a world of plenty, no one, not a single person, should go hungry. But almost 1 billion still do not have enough to eat. I want to see an end to hunger everywhere in his lifetime." Yeah, this is what he said during his tenure and called the Zero Hunger Challenge. Yeah. And then countries around the world came together in 2015 and launched the Sustainable Development Goals, I think part of the United Nations Sustainable Development Goal. And these are the goals they set by year 2030, which is only 5 years away. And if you look at them, hunger, food security, all of these issues are part of those Sustainable Development Goals. Currently, the situation in the global arena is we've got still a little over 700 million people still don't have enough food. That's 1 in every 11 people on the earth. And the hunger and the food insecurity situation is not just outside United States, it's also an issue here. There's 47 million people in the United States are food insecure. Yeah. So it's a global problem. It's a global issue. Yeah. So what are some of the factors that are affecting this food insecurity? We all have heard loss of arable land for food production, urbanization, growing population everywhere. They don't want to live in the villages or rural areas. They want to move to the urban areas for more income opportunities and so on. Young people are not interested in farming. They find agriculture very hard. They call it, this is too much, not good income generating source. Also, they find agriculture dirty, hard work, and so on. And this is a trend we are seeing everywhere, that young people want to go into the urban areas, work their white-collar job or whatever. And then depleting natural resources, water, soil, biodiversity. The area where I come from in India, my father was saying they could take a bucket and get a water out of the well. Same areas, water tables have gone down 1,000 feet deep, and they're going more down and down. Loss of agriculture productivity. Some areas, even though the new varieties have been introduced, the yields are becoming stagnant. High post-harvest losses in some countries. More than 30% of the food is lost after it's harvested because of the poor storage, poor handling, and so on, insect damage, and access to improved technology and inputs. Yes, farmers still don't have access to modern technologies. Broken extension system, big one. Yeah, sometimes the technologies are there, but then they are not reaching it to the farmers. Farmers are not getting adequate information on those technologies. And then lastly, I think we all are hearing impact of climate change. So shocks affecting food systems and food security globally. I just put 4 C's that we have been experiencing. We've just come out of pandemic, right? COVID pandemic, and other natural disasters, conflict and wars, right? We are still into it. The Ukraine-Russia war, the war in Gaza, and so on. Climate change is a big issue affecting everywhere. and the cost of food, rising cost of food everywhere. I went to the Indian store here the other day to buy mangoes, and I used to buy a box of mangoes for $13. This year is $23, the same mangoes, yeah? And I'm sure if you look at some of the other food items, they're becoming, so the cost of food is going. And there are other factors like political instability, trade wars, invasive insects and diseases, and so on. So I want to just share a video clip. Let me see. Yeah, if you can please pay. And this video highlights some of the shocks.
Climate change, along with pressures caused by the conflict in Ukraine, have left many nations vulnerable to food insecurity. In Zimbabwe, maize production, which is a key staple, plummeted by 43% this year. The country is now seeking to import the crop, as well as looking for alternative sources of wheat and fertilizer, usually sourced from Russia and Ukraine. BBC Shingai Nyoka travelled to Mudzi in northeastern Zimbabwe to find out how farmers are coping there.
Ancient grains saved these subsistence farmers from the perfect storm of erratic rains, failed maize harvests, and rising food prices due to the war in Ukraine.
We planted a sizable maize crop, as well as sorghum and millet, but we got nothing from the maize. It was scorched after there was no rain for 3 months. We harvested just the traditional grains.
Wife Rose Karina's entire maize harvest. She compares it to what she got from sorghum and millet, where she used a fraction of the seed and fertilizer. I don't want to plant maize anymore, she says. That proposition would have been unthinkable before. Maize is the staple food here, as well as a cash crop. It's also easier to market and to process. It's why machines are key to increasing traditional grain output. They reduce the threshing time from weeks to hours. The advantages are immense, say experts. The grains have better yields in arid regions and a greater nutritional value. The failure rates of maize harvests is absolutely staggering. 4 out of every 5 seasons. And with a quarter of Zimbabweans needing food assistance, experts say if more families grew traditional grains, they'd be able to feed themselves.
I think it certainly is a reset in the sense of really looking at how do we rethink how the continent feeds itself.
The UN Zimbabwe Resilience Building Fund has helped 200,000 farmers grow ancient grains. 90% are now self-sustaining.
If you look at what we know today in terms of climate impact, in terms of the war on Ukraine and the disrupted supply chain, for community level resilience, then that is the way to go.
Maize flour is already scarce at this market. Zimbabwe is set to tap its strategic reserve and to import grain to beef up supplies. Global uncertainties have prompted maize, wheat, fuel and fertilizer price hikes. It's why some continue to call for alternatives to lessen the import burden by making indigenous grains fashionable again. Shingai Nyoka, BBC News, Mudzi, Zimbabwe.
This is one example, yeah, of the situation from climate change and the wars and so on. And I'm sure you hear same stories in many other countries. Okay, let's see, we get back to. Dr. Norman Borlaug that I mentioned, the father of Green Revolution, who established the World Food Prize that many of you have attended. It's a Nobel Prize kind of equivalent in agriculture. And Dr. Borlaug, he did a marvelous work and brought the Green Revolution. And this is one of his quote that you can't build a peaceful world on empty stomach and human misery. I think we want all of us want a food secured and peaceful world. But if people are hungry, we cannot build a peaceful world. So I think food is, at least for me, my job is very simple. At Michigan State, I connect Michigan State to the world and world to Michigan State, yeah? And I think food is really, it's one of the things, it just connects all of us, right? Everybody needs food, yeah? And if you look at where did the fruits we eat every day come from originally? They come from all over the world. They originate there. You look at crops, that cereals and others that we eat, where do they come from? They come from all over the world. These were the maps prepared by someone from U.S. Department of Agriculture a few years ago, just beautifully. Vegetables we eat, where do they come from? They come from all over the world. So I feel like it's our shared responsibility that that we create a food secured world. So there have been a lot of in responses and initiatives to improve food security. Many players, United Nations plays a big role, FAO, the Food and Agriculture Organization, CGIAR centers. Dr. Borlaug established one in Mexico, and later on there are 15 or 16 centers around the world working on rice to potatoes to livestock to fisheries and you name it. Many international development agencies are working, government supported national research system, private sector is engaged, non-governmental organization, universities like Michigan State and others are engaged, farmer cooperative, commodity groups, grassroots organization, lots of players. This is a network of centers that Dr. Borlaug initiated and launched, and they are there now. I happen to work for one in Mexico, and these centers are all over, and they are doing excellent work. Now, you may ask, what is Michigan State doing in this scenario? And we had a very visionary president, President John Hanna. We always look at him and his work and think. He passed away, but he left a great vision and challenge for all of us. Yeah, and this is one of the quote: "Is a real assistance is not to give them fish, but to teach them how to fish." And that's what we do: is do research, provide education, build their extension systems and so on, so that they can learn how to fish. Yeah. So we are an international, we call it a land grant, but I know one of our president called us world grant, right, or global grant. Our college is very active. Currently, our faculty, our staff, our students are engaged in 88 countries around the world. And with these countries, we do research, collaborative research, technology transfer, education, training, extension, and outreach. And our focus is building that next generation of leaders and building institutions. So it's nice to see young people here. Thank you, Robert, for bringing them. Yeah, they are the future leaders. They'll be the next hunger fighters. Hopefully one of them will be next Borlaug. So this is where our network is all over. Yeah, just amazing network at Michigan State. You go any country and our graduates are there. And our graduates are leaders. In Rwanda, I just came back. The former president or the Secretary of Agriculture, Gerardine Munisingama, did her PhD degree in College of Agriculture here, and so on. And the three kind of buckets that we focus on natural resource management, everything from soil and water and forestry and fisheries and biodiversity. Also, we want to increase production and productivity through new technologies, both modern and traditional and other emerging technologies. And then lastly is how do we save what we harvest, right? Post-harvest, and how do we link farmers to markets and everything, all the other cross-cutting areas, making sure that we are addressing all of these areas. So one of the program that I became director of international program in 2019, just before pandemic, and what we launched a program we call Global Scholars. So people like me are already engaged, but how do we get our early and mid-career faculties who are just rising stars, they get engaged. So we have launched a Global Scholar program at Michigan State in our college. We have 32 Global Scholar across all 12 departments and units. And these are the scholars who are working with these countries that I just mentioned. We also have a program we call Global Fellows. These are some of our alumni who are not here at Michigan State, but they are in different parts of the world. And this is how we have built a network. So hopefully one of these 32 global scholars or global fellows will become next Borlaug. That's what our wish is. So here is one example, Professor Lisa Thiemann in working on soil health. Soil is very important, right? If soil is not healthy or not good quality, we can't grow anything. And she works in Kenya, in Malawi, in Uganda, India, and she's just recently launched a global center for soil health, so she can train soil scientists from around the world. Another global scholar, Abby Bennett, and Fisheries and Wildlife Department, and she's doing work in Mexico, in Malawi, and in India, and Nepal, and others. Again, focusing on aquatic food systems. We also have global scholars that are taking our education globally. During the pandemic, one of the innovation happened is our faculties learn how do we take the courses we are teaching here, convert them online so that we can offer them through Zoom and other means. So one of our global scholars, Dr. Sholani Vibede from Sri Lanka originally, she has designed a course on plant breeding that she can offer it right here from campus here online. And now she has launched a 2-year program in plant breeding where students don't have to come to East Lansing. They can be in their home country and get a degree from Michigan State. We are also looking at extension system. One of our global scholar, Paula Sanguisa, working on dairy in extension in Chile. She comes from Chile. So it's nice to go back to her roots and build capacity on extension area in dairy. We also organize regional and global forum. Here is our director of Ag Bio Research, Professor George Smith. We did a forum in Bangladesh where 6 countries came together and discussed about how climate change issues can be addressed. How do we mitigate? How do we adapt to climate change and continue to enhance food security? So we have done a number of programs on a regional level. We also take our work to World Food Price Symposium in Iowa. This is a booth that our college had where 800 global leaders visit these booths in 3 days' time and so on, just to showcase and also take some ideas from others. We also, as a part of food security, food safety is important, right? We want to make sure that not only people eat food, but also the food be safe and nutritious. We have been offering course on food safety, and last year we celebrated a 25th anniversary, and we did a global symposium here, brought world leaders, and some of our students who were trained came here and did a symposium here. Student engagement is integral part of it. Students come from all over. Here is our new dean, Dean Matt Daum. He was a director of School of Packaging, and he is with students here from Asia, sharing work done by the School of Packaging. Globalization of MSU Extension. I think land grant, one of the hallmark of land grant universities is the extension system. Not only doing research and education, but how do we take that knowledge, those technologies to the farmers, to communities. So in collaboration with the extension institute in India called MANAGE, which is the National Ag Extension Institute, We have launched a joint center so that we can bring experiences from Michigan and also from India and train extension specialists from other countries in Asia. And so this is one of these North-South partnership we call. The director of MSU Extension, Dr. Quinton Tyler, was there last year. And every year, 8 to 10 extension specialists and educators from Michigan go now to India and learn from their system because food is becoming global. We cannot isolate ourselves now. Markets are becoming global, so we want our extension specialists also to learn about other food systems and opportunities for Michigan products. We see blueberries all over now. You go to hotels and have breakfast in the morning and you see blueberries. Michigan is big in blueberries, right? So many countries want to grow blueberries and so on. This is one example of our faculty member, Professor David Douches. He's a potato breeder. We call him Mr. Potato. And he breeds potatoes here for Michigan farmers. But then he's taken his potatoes all over the world. And so he is working through a public-private partnership with a company called Simplot. It's in Boise, Idaho. They've donated some of their technology for late blight-resistant pathogen, fungus. This is a pathogen that caused Irish potato famine, So late blight is a problem not only in Michigan, but all over the world. So he's taken his potatoes all over. And this is a picture from one of the countries. So he's working with 5 countries, Indonesia, Bangladesh, Nigeria, Kenya, and more recently with Rwanda. And you see those plots there. The dead ones are the susceptible ones. The green one behind that, that's Professor Douchey's potatoes, where he has put this technology. And if you see the potatoes, they are harvested one. On the left is the resistant one on the side. And we don't need the data, right? You can just see what's there. So this is an amazing work done by Professor Douches, and he's taken it to now all over the world. This is the potato lines in Rwanda in the field there. And you can see the one on this side is the susceptible one on the back is a resistant. So this is the power of new technologies. And then if we can deliver this to smallholder farmers, why not, It would triple their production. Also, we develop, out of all these programs, we develop new knowledge products or publications, and then we share not only with the country that we are working, but also with other countries around the world. So we have published a book called Innovation in Agriculture Extension, Integrated Pest Management, and so on, a number of. And then inspiring the next generation of global hunger fighters, yeah? This is a picture last year at the World Food Prize Symposium. Our Michigan students were there, and Robert, you were there, Deb, and myself, and Russ Freed, my friend Russ Freed was there, and Brian Wibby and others. This is a great event, very inspirational. And it was so nice to have our youth there. And I hear that this year we may have 10 or 11 students going, Deb. So this is great, yeah? So hopefully we'll have a next board log right here from Michigan, yeah? And so on. And I'm actually working to recognize our youth, in future through some kind of a Michigan Food Prize or something, yeah? So that they get more inspired. But that's what we want to do more. And by the way, this year, I just was in India, and India has decided to send 5 of their students, high school students, to the World Food Prize Symposium. First time ever. They had 2,600 applications. Out of that, they're going to select 5 students, and so on. So I think the Global Youth Institute is now becoming more global, and so on. So I think, we are doing a lot of work, but I think some of the recent developments and impacts are having impacts. I'm sure you have heard the USAID, our main agency, the US Agency for International Development, has been dismantled, Michigan State University, we had 3 big projects, one on potato, one on the food security innovation lab, one of the legume system lab. Almost $20 million of our funding was stopped in just 2 months ago. Yeah, these projects have been shut down. Many of the food aid programs have been impacted. Federal funding for agriculture research to universities across the US has been really cut. Of course, we all hear about tariffs and trade war will have potential impacts on food availability, trade, and food prices globally. And then these current trends may even impact our local farmers here. If they are not able to trade easily, it will affect them and also farming communities globally. So the future of global food and nutritional security is looking a little scary right now, with the way funding and other things are cut. Hopefully the situation will improve. But at Michigan State, we say we never give up, yeah. We are looking for ways to continue. Our leadership is finding ways to continue. We are also diversifying funding sources and trying our best to continue the work. So I think, why should we be engaged in global food security? I think this is a responsibility for all of us. Humanitarian goal, as I said, we cannot build peaceful world on hungry stomachs. If people are hungry, we will not have a peaceful world. And I think through our work, we can open up new markets for US products. We built a collaboration with the largest dairy cooperative in India called Amul. Please Google it when you go back, Amul. Recently, the Amul is partnering with MMPA, the Michigan Milk Producer Association. And now Amul and MMPA are jointly marketing milk here, which is purchased from farmers here in Michigan and Ohio and is being sold in Costco market. Yeah. So sometimes these partnerships are leading to opening new markets for our own products here. And then peace and stability, very important. So I think when food is abundant, communities flourish. Yeah, we want population is not going down, 10 billion in 2050. I think we want not a single person to be hungry. And we will continue to remain engaged in global food and nutritional programs. And I think we will need everyone's support. Yeah, I don't think so. Just 51,000 students from Michigan State or our faculty can do it alone. Yeah, we need a whole village, what we call, to solve that. So I think everybody can get engaged. I just listed few things. Robert, you can share these slides with everyone. Yeah, some of the sources and so on. But I think one of the things your group, your club can do it, encourage and motivate youth, yeah, to engage them. Michigan State has study abroad programs in, I don't know how many, 60 programs or something all over the world. Hope our young generation can go and visit them and participate in these programs, yeah. So there are a lot of opportunities for young people to get engaged. World Food Prize Symposium is an excellent platform, and then many other. So our goal is really to continue work on building the next generation of leaders, the next Borlags, what we call. So I think all of us can make a difference to make this world a more food secure. So thank you very much.
Thank you. We'll do question and answer in a little bit.
Yeah, sure.
So I just, one more round of applause perhaps for Dr. Maredia. So before I call up Deb, I want to tell 2 stories. One is that I was in Rwanda in 2018 and I was in the market, okay, and I was trying to get like some really cool African clothing, and this guy walked by wearing a Michigan State T-shirt. I just wanted to mention that, okay? All right. So just to validate that. The second thing is, I think that, such an important part of this is I grew up in urban America, food came from the grocery store. That's how I understood the world. And as a result of, Deb and the World Food Prize, my own, even in my age, my whole idea of food has has changed remarkably. And so calling attention and raising awareness about these issues and, again, being inspired by our young people is just so important. So I'd like to introduce Deb for a second. So Deb and I have worked on this World Food Prize thing, or I followed her around for a little bit. She's a senior educator at Michigan State University Extension. She's worked in this capacity all the way a long time ago, back maybe into the last century, maybe. Okay. Her primary office is here in East Lansing over in Anthony Hall, right near the ice cream store, as I found out. Okay. In this role, Deb focuses on her career exploration and workforce development and creating partnerships with various MSU departments. She's a co-coordinator along with Brian of the World Food Prize and Institute, and she support a big part of this is the World Food Prize is part of the kind of the larger 4-H kind of environment, and so she can talk a little bit about that. Really excited to have her up here. We had we all of us had a really good time in Iowa, but we got to know each other really well during the 5-hour delay in the Lansing airport when the airplane was broken. We got to know each other even better. So Deb, come on up, and if you can, Deb's going to be charged with here's Dr. Maredia, here's the youth, and this is the connector right here, okay? The educator.
All right. It is wonderful to be here. I was ready to do this in February when it was a little cooler, but it's a beautiful day. A reminder that we need to appreciate what we have every day, right? Do any of you want to stretch just for a moment? I know that it's evening. We've all had long days. I'm used to doing youth development. So I work with everyone and I'm always trying to keep them. Yeah, there you go. If I need to stretch, the rest of you need to stretch. Go for it. All right. So as we transition here, I do refer to Dr. Maredia as Karim. Every time I try to call him Dr. Maredia, he says, I'm Karim. And he is a huge supporter of many things that we do at Michigan State. And I consider Robert, he is a 4-H volunteer now because of our involvement with this program. But I consider him a buddy too, because it really was quite a task to survive spending many, many more hours in the Lansing Capital City Airport than what we needed to, just to be able to get out of town and try to make it to the World Food Prize. So you're going to see a couple of little similarities, and we'll see if any of you pick up on replication between Karim's presentation and mine, even though we didn't do this together. But here's how the story goes. Karim mentioned the Global Youth Institute and the World Food Prize, which is out in Des Moines, Iowa. I entered the picture in 2019. Michigan State University has had a Michigan Youth Institute since 2015. But I joined when we had some collegial changes in 2019, which was just before the pandemic started. I was rearing to go with my partner that's up in the Upper Peninsula, Brian Wibby, and we got halted. And we shifted everything from in-person programming to being effective online. And that is one of our strengths, is that we are able to maintain and provide our program not only face-to-face with interactions, but also being able to address the audience and have the audience involved with us online at the same time. So each year in the spring, World Food Prize Michigan Youth Institute brings young people to campus in the grades of 7 through 12 that have chosen to write a research paper on a variety of topics that I'm going to show you. And they present those topics. And depending on how they do, we have them surrounded with networking and collaboration opportunities all day long. And they then might make it to be interviewed to be one of the delegates to go out to Des Moines in the fall for the Global Youth Institute. So these fine individuals that are also here this evening that you're going to hear after me are 3 of our success stories. And I will add more to that in a moment. I think that Karim covered this for us, so I will not spend time on this part except to say that vision that Dr. Borlaug had, that we have to continue to grow the next generation, right? These 3 young people that are here tonight are examples of who is supposed to take over the reins and continue to make changes and continue to make our world a better place when we are all done doing that, right? So let's see, what else did I want to add to that? I think that's good. Okay. So for me, I come from the angle of workforce development and career exploration. Several other individuals that I have gotten to know along the way come to food security and global food scarcity from different angles. I'm coming at it from what can we do with young people to grow their skills, enhance their skills, get them ready for the future workforce, and show them all the opportunities that there are in front of them. I think that is one of the reasons that we are successful with our Youth Institute here at Michigan State, is because we blend all of our experts and our areas of expertise together to try to help these young people have opportunities to grow their leadership, to grow their decision-making, their problem-solving skills, their communication skills, social skills. And I hope that we connect with them and show them how important it is in the value of networking, collaborating, and partnership every day. They can start anytime now, but usually August, September, World Food Prize puts out a new Global Challenge booklet. This is a booklet that is available across our nation and internationally for young people to write a 3 to 5 page research paper. And in a moment, I'll show you the topics. In Michigan, so Michigan State University is one of about 25 land-grant colleges or universities across the United States that hold youth institutes. Michigan's is also open every now and then. We have an individual from outside of Michigan that chooses to participate because we are open to all. They submit so they write their papers and they submit them in March. And then we have tried to get them involved in also expressing themselves with a poster that is a step further from their paper presentation. That has not stuck real well yet, but the event we just finished was on May 8th. So it always happens at Michigan State during that transition time between the winter semester ending and summer classes starting, so that we can get to all the professors and the experts and the researchers and the facilities that are transitioning for summer. Okay, so that's why that timeline is there like that. So everybody chooses a country of their choosing, one that they do not live in. And they choose from 22 different challenge topics. This year, fisheries and aquaculture and poverty were both added. Those are new ones. So they're going to dive into something that might be of interest, or that all of a sudden between their teachers, their mentors, something has, triggered them to be able to explore and learn something new. And I think each one of them, the 3 that are here tonight for sure, but everybody learns something along this journey. It's a little different than just writing a school paper. So whether they are at the Youth Institute held here across the street, or they are out in Iowa for the Global Youth Institute, they participate in roundtable discussions. Nobody knows what they wrote better than what each of them do. And so we bring them together. I think you might see Karim in one of those pictures because he is always one of our experts. There's a couple of other people in this room tonight that have served as experts. We put them with individuals that we believe are going to help encourage conversations, discussion, and do it with a youth development focus, not necessarily at the high scientific level where we're going to lose the 7th graders in this process. We also surround them with youth development staff so that if we have some challenges communicating or just like I suggested, let's just stretch just for a moment, right, and continue on. Our youth development folks know how to do that on the spot. So in addition to roundtables and having conversations amongst their peers and some individuals that will foster conversation about their paper topics, they also do service. Out at Des Moines, they did a huge service project and packaged meals for a facility. Here, we just did our first service project. We did something much more simple, but we did it for the kids' food basket on the west side of the state, and it was very successful. Part of their time when they're here face-to-face, and they've presented, and we've got their self-esteem going, and they're enjoying their day at Michigan State, is that we take them out in the afternoon, and some of the professors and researchers allow them to come into their labs and facilities, and we try to get them into some of the really cool, interesting and different places at Michigan State that maybe the average person, even myself having grown up across the street almost, I still find fascinating, and I always find something new. So we try, as a pre-college program, we try to blend that all together and pack everything in for a day. And then, like Robert said, he found out that I'm in the building where the dairy store is. Generally speaking, we end our event with dairy store ice cream, because that's very important. These are last year's delegates and some of our success stories here, but just showing you. So one of the things that Michigan State does, thanks to people like Karim, is that when we are far from home, and sometimes this is the first journey away from home for 7th through 12th graders that we might take with us, Michigan State hosts them. And we have usually 45 minutes to an hour where all of the leadership, administrators, and researchers that have come out to Iowa from Michigan State will gather with our group of students and interact and talk and just connect, because our world, we're better off the more we connect and network. This is my co-coordinator, Brian Wibby, and myself. We are a dynamic duo on this thing. We have grown from, when I did this during the pandemic, we had about 30 people show up online, and we're like, all right, we did it, we got it. Zoom didn't, die on us for the time period, and we kept everybody engaged. We had 109 actually show up this year. So we continue to grow this program. We had 141 actually write papers, but not all of them came. So they're still doing valuable work in addition to just that first day. And on your table tonight, I brought our impact report from this year. If you want to see some of the impacts of the breadth of the university that helps with this, the way we connect with different schools, departments, colleges, how we all come together to try to help make a difference for a day or two with these young people. And there is just a reminder of our commitment. We are also very well known in this program for being inclusive. Several dietary accommodations, learning disability accommodations. If Brian or I are aware of something and we have the ability to find someone to help connect, we will do so. I think that concludes most of what I was going to go over. I will just say, not knowing what each of these three are going to tell you about their journey, these three are rock stars. So they have already participated in the Michigan Youth Institute. They then made it to the top group that represented Michigan last fall out at the Global Youth Institute. And that experience has about 200 young people. And then they are surrounded and adjacent to the Borlaug dialogue that goes on simultaneously. But then they got the bug. They connected with all of us. Robert and a couple of other people and I have been trying to keep this group going. And they all came back and said they could be a peer expert this year. So they also are already giving back, thinking about what they want to do forward. And I think with that, that's probably a good place to transition, Robert.
That was great. And it's so wonderful to watch the numbers grow like every single year. And I just want to put out a big plug for this. And I know if you have people you know, children, grandchildren, nieces, nephews here in Cyprus, wherever they are, okay? This is, after 40 years of teaching, I've decided that this is the best activity kids can do, and for a number of reasons. One is that it's incredibly interdisciplinary. You can see from the topics, some of the topics are related to science. If a student is interested in science, some of them are related to government, conflict, and things like that. There are so many different causes of food insecurity that no matter who you are, you're going to find something that that kind of resonates with you. I also want to mention with the 200 and whatever countries and the 22 topics that every single paper is different from each other because they're all selecting a country of interest and a topic that's interest. So it's definitely not repetitive at all. Students learn research. They learn to write. They have to present. They have to come up with their proposals for solutions, okay? They're thinking critically. They are listening to others and providing feedback. Just about every valuable skill that you could ask a student to practice or to be exposed to is contained within this particular activity. It is the best. At Waverly High School, where two of the students go, we are very proud. I think for the last 5 years, we've had someone or multiple people go on to go to Iowa. So we are very hooked into this. I don't want to say that we incentivize it and that, certain people didn't have to take a final exam or anything because they participated, but that's kind of the deal that we make. We also are very, like Deb pointed out, this is open to everyone. I mean, I think that these are very accomplished young people, not to put too much pressure on these guys, but if you're a ninth grader, we're just expecting to write a ninth grade paper, right? We're not expecting to write a college level paper. If you're an 11th grader, you write an 11th grade paper, right? So it's what you can do. And so I think hopefully as time goes on, more and more people will take advantage of this opportunity. In just again to piggyback on what Deb said, there are these local institutes, but there's an online institute. So no matter wherever in any of the 50 states, right, that you have someone, they're able to participate. So just kind of adding that up. So I'm going to introduce now these three individuals who I think they're maybe. You can decide. I think Isaiah said he would go first. Okay, so good job, Isaiah. So these are all, like we said, they're three of the delegates from the 2024 Global Youth Institute. So we're going to call them up. I asked them to make 3 slides, one about them, one about what they wrote about, and one about what are some of the things they learned or took away from it. Okay. I also want to mention that all 3 of these guys, starting on Monday, are going to be participating in an internship that includes a virtual internship that includes 12 Michigan students and 13 students from Kampala, Uganda, starting on Monday, where they'll be kind of interacting with their peers from across the Atlantic Ocean for 9 sessions. And it's going to be really exciting. And maybe that will be a future Java Cafe where they can come back and talk about their experience with that as well. So here comes Isaiah. Come on up. Isaiah and I go way, way back. I had his mother as a student in school, so I just want to throw that out, okay? So Isaiah, it's all yours.
Thank you. I'm Isaiah Waldron. I'm going into my junior year at Waverly High School, Lansing, Michigan. I'm on my school's varsity soccer team. I'm in a couple of clubs, Interact, Quiz Bowl. I'm in National Honor Society now. I like to play video games and travel. The photo right there is a photo of me in Peru with Mr. Lurie on an international school trip. And I plan to go to college after high school. I think U of M is my first choice, and I'm between business, computer science, and biotech. Oh, got it. For my paper, I chose Ethiopia and chose to focus on climate volatility, providing solutions to recurring droughts and soil deterioration. I chose it because it was a region I had never looked into. I love learning about history and playing history-related games, but they almost always revolve around Europe and the United States, so I wanted to try and learn something new while writing this paper. While writing this paper, I learned really key things about the brainstorming and finding realistic solutions to problems, trying to balance pros and cons to get the best solution that is effective and available. The trial and error when searching and brainstorming was something I remember today and still remember when I see global and local initiatives happening. I also got to learn new things about Ethiopia's history and culture, using this to pick a solution that's effective to Ethiopia's situation and like current needs. On the trip to MSU, I got to share my research and solutions with experts and peers. It was a really unique experience to have your solutions taken seriously as a high schooler and not an expert. Um, at the Global Youth Institute, I got to see firsthand the work being done in all sorts of fields and areas to combat food insecurity. Volunteering and packing meals for those in need really stuck with me, showing how real and serious food insecurity is and how people all over the world are taking action. The Global Youth Institute definitely made an impact on me. It's hard not to want to change your future plans when you see all that opportunity and work that's being done around the world. I would recommend the World Food Prize because people get to see other perspectives and the impact they can make on global and local issues just by being themselves and having ideas. And that's it. Well, while he's getting my presentation up there, I'm Shepard Thompson, and I go to Washtenaw Christian Academy in Saline, Michigan, which is near Ann Arbor. So go blue. Um, I Hey, Isaiah wants to go to Michigan, so at least I have one person. But I also play soccer, just like Isaiah. I also play basketball at my school and also participate in Quiz Bowl. And I also enjoy playing the piano. Um, One of my more unique hobbies is playing and creating complex strategy board games similar to the one on the top right picture. And my dream job would be to be a board game designer. But I also have a deep interest in packaging. And neither of these jobs sort of really fit with the World Food Prize when I was thinking about doing it. But especially packaging, when I look into it, is like what Dr. Maredia was saying. One of the problems with food these days is how do you not get the food to spoil, and how do you take the food from one place to another? So building sustainable places for those things is very important, and that's something that packaging hits right on the nose. And I know Michigan State has the best packaging school, at least in the country, if not bigger than that. So yeah, you can flip to the next slide. I don't know if this works or not, but so what I wrote my paper on was Argentina and policy and governance. So if you're not familiar with the situation in Argentina right now, the inflation right there now is insane. Like One US dollar was 1,000 pesos. Like it was crazy. And I actually got to go to Argentina in 2023, in spring of 2023. My grandparents are from there, so my grandpa took us down, and I also have other family there, and it's really I could directly see the inflation issues there and how it affects the average citizen. Because my family there is not, they're not crazy important people, but so they're just average citizens, and seeing how the inflation affects them is really was really powerful. And Argentina is also a large country with many people in it, and its success is important to not only their country but to other countries. So that's very important. And this is actually the second World Food Prize paper I've written, so it was good to have that first experience. And I actually wrote in Ethiopia, as well as Isaiah that first year. And it is really important to be able, I enjoy writing, and but in writing a research paper is so much different than writing anything else. And so that was really good to be able to do that, and also to orally present it to others as a whole new challenge. And I'm so happy that the World Food Prize was really able to hone those skills for me. So let's see, maybe I can try. Oh, there we go. So at the I guess the Michigan Youth Institute, it was really cool to see the ideas that people were bringing across the state. But at the Global Youth Institute, it was fascinating to see people that I would never see anywhere else. When I did the food packing thing that Isaiah was talking about, and Mr. Lurie, um, I was at a table with a guy from Texas, a guy from like Connecticut, and a girl from Colorado. And we would never be at the same table in any other setting, only in this setting. And that was really powerful, that we were all able to be brought together for something like this, and we all had the same passions. And like I said, learned a ton from others' presentations, people doing countries like Cape Verde, which I would never think to do a food security paper on that. And it was really cool that everybody was choosing unique countries, and there was a ton to learn, and everyone had innovative solutions, especially at the Global Youth Institute, to combat food insecurity in different areas. And anybody who wants to end food security, which should be in the interest of everybody, and whoever can write this paper, I highly suggest that they do, because not only do I feel like I am on that road to being someone who can help fight food insecurity, but also all these opportunities are opening up, just like what Mr. Lurie was saying about the kids in Uganda that I get to interact with. And that's such a cool opportunity, and things I never would have gotten to done without writing this one paper, this 3 to 5 page paper. And the Global Youth Institute was such an impactful experience, and it will be to anyone who goes. And so many, I know there's other people. It's not just the people that go, but so many people don't know about this. And there's so many that strive to end food insecurity. And there's so many opportunities at the Michigan Youth Institute and at the Global Youth Institute that can inspire new paths in their lives. So thank you.
Hi guys, I'm Thaddeus. A fun fact about me, I was in a human pyramid. That's me right there. I look like I'm dying in that picture. It's very fun. So I'm Thaddeus, and I'm from Waverly High School, which is in Lansing, Michigan, as you probably know. And I do a lot of sports. I do cross country and swimming and diving and track and field. And I used to do wrestling, but I don't do that anymore because of the knee injury. I'm also in ISA, which is International Student Alliance. That's what Mr. Lurie does right there. That's how I got to do that like visa program with the, what do you call it, exchange program with the kids in Uganda, like Shepard was talking about. And I also do Quiz Bowl like Shepard does and Isaiah does. And in the future, I'm kind of undecided for my career, but I have a passion about learning for like how the world works. And I hope to do something that I can actually keep learning while I do it. And currently, I'm either thinking University of Wisconsin-Madison. You can blame Mr. Lurie for that. He's trying to make me go to it. Or Michigan State University. And then that's about it for my college choices. I might go to Ann Arbor if Shepard convinces me. Who knows? You can go ahead and thank you. And then during the start of my World Food Prize project, I had a really big issue. I had no clue what country to pick. And it was like 4 days before I had to finish writing it. And I pulled up the news because I got stressed and I saw Ariel Sea now at 10% of original size. And I whoa, what's the Ariel Sea? And I looked it up and that's that little lake right there. You can actually see it, that's a little shaded part in the map. That's the Ariel Sea and it's been shrinking and shrinking ever since the 60s. And that happened due to mass irrigation networks that happened to fuel cotton farms in Kazakhstan when it was under the USSR. And I realized after researching that this was a really, really big issue, water scarcity, and it had a lot of different aspects to it. And I wanted to try to make a solution with the World Food Prize to fix that issue. So my my solution, it probably wasn't the best solution, but it's what I came up with. And it was basically to diversify the crops in Kazakhstan and get away from cotton farming because it's one of their monoculture crops and it's terrible for the soil and it's terrible for water usage, and to kind of diversify their economy a little bit. So I learned a lot about how economies interact with each other in different food networks, go into other food networks. And I realized that something like the Ariel Sea shrinking is something that not one country can fix because Uzbekistan gets that water too. So does a little bit of Turkmenistan. They all divert water from the Ariel Sea, and it's a massive issue which requires international cooperation to fix. So I learned a lot about how you could research these things and try to propose solutions, but those solutions aren't really going to work until these countries get together and try to solve the issues, which is one thing that GLUNA is really good at, is talking about this and discussing this. So I learned a lot about that, and I feel like I improved my critical thinking and problem solving, which is something that, well, it's kind of hard to do in the modern age of misinformation and fake news and angry people on X right now. It's kind of hard to do that. You can switch to the next slide, please. And yeah, during my visit to MSU for the Michigan Youth Institute, I learned a lot as both like a student presenting papers, which I was really nervous to do, by the way, and as a grader, because when you're a student, the only thing you think about is I gotta say all these words right now. People are gonna be mad at me if I don't say these words. But then as an essay person, you're like, well, this is way, way more chill, and this is actually kind of fun to learn about how different kids think and different kids problem solve. And it was a really good opportunity. It was also a really big opportunity to just see how wide how wide the lack of nutrition and proper food stuff is worldwide and how it affects different countries. Even places like Canada has issues with having too much junk food in stores and not enough cheap, organic, or good food for you. And it just really puts into perspective how even like first world nations can suffer from these issues. And during my stay in Des Moines, um, I was intimidated, like really, really intimidated at first from flying for the first time and getting like a 5-hour flight delay, like you all know, to meeting tons of new people. And I felt scared what would happen. But soon I realized that it was so much more. It was an opportunity to learn from people, not just in my neighborhood or state, but all over the world. Like I talked to people from Minnesota. I talked to that one guy that he was talking about from Texas and Connecticut. And it was just a really good opportunity. And I definitely recommend any kid who wants to learn more about the world or even just try to educate themselves, try to do this. It's a really good opportunity. And that's about all.
Like to any questions for them or three or fellas, but anything you want to know about any questions? Oh, yeah, sorry. Yeah. We do have people online, so we'll go ahead and use this. So we're going to open up to questions right now. I think Lucia's had her hand up, so I'm going to bring this over so you can speak it and then.
Thank you very much. My name is Lucia Constantino. I was a student here 30 years ago. I first arrived in your city, in the university in 1995, and that's where I met Lynn and Tom Barkley. I was part of Lattice, and we go back decades, really. So thank you very much for inviting me here tonight. I feel very much at home. I would like to thank the professor and Deb and the 3 students for really an impressive presentation. Thank you for sharing your expertise with us and your experiences. It's been really very humbling. It's an important topic. I have a couple of puzzles really that I would like to share with you and seek your collective wisdom, perhaps, as to how to solve them in a way. So I come from Cyprus, which is an island in the Mediterranean Sea. And as of lately, I have been seeing NGOs mainly working with the youth, tackling the issue of food deprivation, not only in around the world, but also particularly in our country. So what I saw is young people through these NGOs going to grocery stores and saying, okay, if you have any food that you're throwing away, please don't. We know how to use it. We'll distribute it elsewhere, etc. My puzzle there, so, obviously the youth is very engaged and active in tackling this problem of food waste, you could call it. My puzzle, which I shared with them, is this. We don't want to sort of think that through these initiatives, we are really solving world hunger, which is a very complicated matter, okay? And I sort of got worried as a teacher that through these initiatives, if we don't do them right, perhaps we could inadvertently divert people from the real problem, which is world hunger. So that's one puzzle. The other puzzle, in other words, how do you avoid this trap? The other puzzle is this. Again, inadvertently, perhaps, we tend to equate food deprivation with race and social class. So how do we do not fall into this trap and take a sort of charity approach on the matter? Obviously, the 3 of you, presented your work in very impressive ways. And what I really enjoyed is how you presented it, not only what you learned from it, but you see what I'm talking about. This is a very complicated matter. It's not a result of climate change. It goes deeper. It takes interdisciplinary approaches, like you mentioned, Robert. So I would like to see how, as teachers, as professors, as experts on the topic, you embrace it in the complexifying ways that it deserves. Thank you.
I'll let you go ahead.
My former boss is here, Russell Fried. So Russell Fried, he was a director of international program. Can you hear with this? He was a director of international program. He lived in Sri Lanka and the Philippines, right, and Indonesia for some years. So you may add something, Russ. But I think, yes, food security or food is very complex, yeah. And I don't think so. We can solve all the problems, yeah. And it's not only just increasing the food production, but there's it's very complex. So I think one of the aspects that we try to integrate is the social aspects, yeah. And so we don't really, for us, is we don't really go to each farmer or each thing. What we do is we work with institutions that support those farmers, who understand those social issues, those complex socio-political issues, and so on. Yeah. but it is complex and it varies from country to country. You cannot have a one size fit for anywhere, Things work in my village may not work 500 miles from that village somewhere. The languages are different, the cultures are different. So it's very complex. So I think for us is to work with those institutions that support them. That's the approach we take. Gus, you want to say anything? Yeah, please.
Professor always wants to say something. But I learned something from my daughter today. And my daughter's teaches at SUNY Potsdam. And she lived in Africa for 2 years working for Habitat for Humanity. And we were talking about food security this morning, global food security. And she was saying how important culture is in food security. And she was talking about in Africa, the women are not allowed to cultivate improved land. The women can only cultivate the brush, where there's irrigation, where there's been any kind of improvement in the, like contour farming or something like that, the women are not allowed to cultivate the land. Only the men are, the improved land. So culture is important in global food security. And I've been in this game for 60 years, and I never realized that. So.
Yeah. Thank you so much. And I'm still looking for the magic wand, that we're going to wave that's going to solve all these problems. And that's what we're doing. We're trying to unpack this. And I think, we look across the globe, but, we need to look in our own neighborhood. At our school, we have about 70% of our students that qualify for free and reduced lunch, while a mile away, people are parking their Mercedes in their parking lot, right? So these are incredibly complex, issues, and this is where we start, right? There's no education is the only answer to moving forward, right? So I think that's. We didn't answer your question, but we tried. Okay, so that's good. Question.
Well, thank you. My name is David Thompson. I happen to be Shepard's dad. And I just want to thank you, Robert, Professor Karim. I want to thank you, Deb, those that are leading this program. I did want to underscore that I think I heard you say that there were over 2,000 students that competed to participate, and there were about 5 students selected in a program like this in India. And therefore, in addition to expressing my gratitude, I'd like to say I'd love to see that in the state of Michigan. It's wonderful to see these students here, and I could just see a world where there's that level of competitiveness here in the state of Michigan, and there's more young people having the opportunity to think about these things and then get at to your thorny problems that you described and begin to think of those problems at a younger age. So thank you for what's happening. It's really exciting.
Thank you. I have some opinions on on the current topic here, but I actually have a question for Thaddeus that came to my mind in thinking about the Great Lakes and the water that is there and the diminishment of the water in the Aral Sea and some calls in this country as aquifers, the underground lakes in other parts of the country that are being drawn down to the point where they're having difficulty getting enough water there, and talks of taking water from the Great Lakes. In your work, did you think about that at all, or in your writing, did you include any of that?
I didn't include anything about draining aquifers necessarily, but I did read a very, very interesting news article that somebody wrote about his plan to make a canal going across the United States to California to drain Lake Michigan, which I thought was kind of ridiculous. The main issue with the Aerial Sea is it's an endorheic lake, so it's only filled by rainwater, whereas the Great Lakes are filled by different streams and other various things. And that's the main reason why, if you were to divert water from the Great Lakes, it would be preferable to diverting water from the Aerial Sea, because the Aerial Sea has a much harder time replenishing it and it's not nearly as deep. Does that kind of answer your question? Yeah, I don't really have an answer for, yeah, why people think it's okay to drain the Great Lakes, right? Very dangerous.
Thank you. We're about ready to call it. Okay, come on up. Come on up, Terrence. Why don't you take care of some business up here? So how about one more big round of applause, obviously, for all of you. I don't know about you, but this may have, jolted some of your stereotypes about youth, hopefully at this point too. Okay, so.
Okay. All right, let's try that. That works still? Okay, all right. So first of all, I would like also to thank all of our speakers tonight. And in doing that, I've got some gifts, which is why I was trying to juggle. So here we have the gifts for all the speakers in this custom-made, unique box. Yeah, one at a time. Yes. Yeah, well, just this one. Okay, that one was special. That's all. It was orange. So for Dr. Maredia, for you, thank you. Yeah, okay. You just hand the rest of them out, then that's fine. Okay, then in order, Isaiah. Oh, I forgot, Deb. Yes, Deb, in the back, Deb, please. And Shepherd. And Thaddeus, thank you. Hold on. And I'd also like to thank Robert for putting this whole thing together twice. So we finally managed to connect up for the second time. Dr. Maredia's very busy schedule with locating a venue for tonight. So thank you very much for pulling all that together. All right, just a quick word about UNA. The Greater Lansing United Nations Association official mission is to inspire and mobilize the community to support the work of the United Nations and its agencies through education and advocacy. Advocacy, particularly important issue. We don't have our advocacy chair here tonight, but you all know the challenges with the current administration. So anything you can do in terms of writing, calling, standing up, speaking, to protect not only the UN and its funding, but the goals of the UN as they distribute through all of the rest of the work the UN does, including issues like food security, is vitally important. A brief advertisement. We know that food security is a very complex and interconnected issue. One of the major issues that it's connected with will be an issue for a topic in September, and that is the technical capability to solve global warming that exists, and comparing that and discussing the lack of political will to effectuate those remedies. So that will be Dr. David Favor, who's from the Michigan State College of Law. And we don't have a specific date yet, but that will be September. So this is a pitch for Bob to talk about how you get to find that out, when it's going to be. So Bob Barnhart is chair of membership for the Greater Lansing United Nations Association. So you get this.
Get that? Can we get that? I can handle that. All right. All right. Thank you very much, Terrence. Yeah, this is a good time for me. I get to tell you that I love GLUNA, Greater Lansing United Nations Association. This fabulous program is one of the reasons why I love GLUNA. And we have almost on a monthly basis fabulous programs like this. And we do it for anyone who wants to come and watch online or come to our programs and so forth. You don't have to be a member. However, membership is important. It helps support other programs because we do get a part of the membership payment that you make when you join. It also shows that you care about and are interested in the work of the United Nations and that you are standing up for international interests where we sometimes have people in our administration and other governmental officials who may not be interested. But we want Americans to know and we want the world to know that we actually do care. So if you're not a member and you would like to be, there are a number of ways of doing that. But if you go to gluna.org, that's Greater Lansing UNA, that's what GLUNA stands for, gluna.org and /join us, you can get all the details about how to join. And you can also get, there's also, we do have a QR, thank you. I knew there was a word for that. A QR code, and that's on the table in the back. And take a picture of that and you can sign up tonight. Anyway, we'd like you to join. And I think that your membership would be very important to us. And one thing I want our youth to know is that until you're age 26, you can be a member for free, no charge. Beyond that, there are costs, but those they're not unreasonable. Our standard is $50. There are other ways that you can join. If you're particularly a young professional between 18 and 30, it's only $25. Can't beat that. If you're on a fixed income, you give them a call and let them know, and we could give it for $25. And so I think there's a lot of ways of doing that. If you want to, there are higher levels. If you want to give a little more to the work of the Greater Lansing United Nations Association and the UNA nationally. So go to our website, join if you aren't already a member. If you are a member, thank you so much. And I know you probably enjoy it as much as I do. So thank you.
Well, I think we're about ready to wrap up, but I do want to say that I personally will finance Thaddeus, Shepherd, and Isaiah's. If you want to join today, I will pay for. No worries. Okay, I got you. Okay, we're all set for you guys. Okay, so I'm really just want to add that in as well. Ready to wrap up, Terrence? One more thing.
There's refreshments in the back. Yes. Please stay and talk, chat with our speakers, all of them. There are 2 pots of coffee in the back. One of them has a very discreet little D in blue at the base. That's the decaf one. So be careful, otherwise you'll be up all night. So, okay.
Yeah, good photo. Let's get all 5 of you up here for the photo for sure. Okay.